Hi, welcome everyone. So before we start, can you put your hands up if you can hear me, please? Just put your virtual hands up. Thank you. Great. Thank you very much. And can you just put your hands up again if you can see my slides? You should see a slide saying, is knowing where you're going and how you're getting there important? Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. So look, I'm really delighted that you're able to join me today. So look, before we start, imagine planning a trip to somewhere you've never been before, somewhere you really want to go to, because you know it's a great place to be. Would you set off without looking at the map or firing up the Satnav? No, of course you wouldn't. How could you possibly expect to get there if you don't know the route on where you want to go and how you're going to get there? And this is how many business owners run their business. They don't have an end destination. They don't have a plan on how they're going to get to that end destination. They just plow on, too busy to stop and plan. They keep doing the same things and hoping the outcome will get them somewhere they want to be. And how productive do you think your team might be if they're not clear on the end destination of where you're looking to get to and how you're going to get there? So once you have a firm destination, you can work backwards from that starting point. This gives you a really clear view of what you need to do to get there. You can then regularly check your progress once you've set off. And of course, you can then, you can tweak it as necessary. Because things happen, things change. You're not always going to be on course to achieve your plan. You might get blown off course. But you regularly review your plan and you look at it and you get back on track. Okay? Now, I can assure you, this approach to planning works every time. And I'm going to share with you today some tips and techniques of how you can put this in place. Okay, so look, firstly, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Simon Marshall, and I'm your local coach and business growth specialist. I worked in the city for over 30 years at a number of financial institutions, consultants and advisors. And I now focus my time on helping local business owners make their business more successful and accomplish what they wish to achieve, no matter what that may be. I believe we can all achieve a rewarding lifestyle and realize our business goals. So let's have a look at what we're aiming to achieve today. So many business owners don't see the importance of setting the vision. Their immediate focus is to start earning money. Okay? They start out on their journey and eventually they find that they're lost, or they've ended up somewhere they didn't want to be working. They're usually working too many hours in the business and not earning the money they believe is possible from the business. They've got no exit strategy. And as the business relies on them to operate it, they have to continue working in it to earn money, and they're not able to sell it. Now, Stephen Covey, in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, refers to this as making sure your ladder is against the right wall before you start climbing it. So together, we're going to go through the value of having a clear vision for your business and, more importantly, for you. So just have a think about this. Do you know what your preferred future is? Where do you want to take your business in the next 1, 3, 5, 7, 10, or even 20 years? How will you define success? What does success look like for you? Success is different for everyone. What does success look like for you? What specific metrics do you want to see change in your business? And how do you see yourself developing as a professional and as a leader? So think about these 4 things today. Okay? Educate, evaluate, extrapolate, and execute. And we're going to be following this process as I go through the webinar today. Now, the first thing just to remind you of is Action Coach's definition of a successful business. A commercial, profitable enterprise that can work without you. Okay, and this highlights two specific goals: to get more profitability and to work less hours. In other words, to design a business that works without you. If you design a business that works without you, it gives you the freedom of choice. If you love what you do, great. You can carry on working in the business, doing the things that you love. But also, if it works without you, you could potentially sell the business, pass it down to the next generation. It gives you the freedom of choice. Now, the next question I'd like you to ask yourselves is, are you working on or in your business? Are you spending time on the bridge, or are you in the engine room? So let me just give you a bit more detail about what I mean by that. So working on or in your business. So if you're working in the engine room, yeah, you're working in your business. And that might be doing things like selling, doing, or making. It also means that you're blind to possible opportunities and threats. Yeah, you're moving, but you can't see which direction. Yeah, because you haven't set a plan or an end destination. And ultimately, you're doing a job in your own business. So you've still got a job. Now, the opposite of that, or the alternative to that, is working on the bridge, working on your business. And this is what it means to be working on your business. You're in a position of leadership for your team. You're plotting a course and plan for your journey. You're setting goals, action plans, and you're executing them. You're scanning the horizon for opportunities and also for threats. And you're steering your business. So it's steering your business. You're steering the direction that it's going in. You know where you want to end up. You're constantly reviewing where you are. Are you still moving in the right direction? Are you moving forward? Have you got blown off course? Do you need to make some adjustments to get you back to where you want to be, to get to the direction and the end destination of where you want to go? So before we get stuck into sort of destination and how we're going to get there, I wanted to share this with you about creating positive change. Now, to create positive change, you need these things. You need vision, you need skills, you need incentive, you need resource, and you need an action plan. So just think about that for a second. First of all, vision. You need to know what that change is going to result in. What's going to happen in the future, what the vision of the future is. You need the skills to be able to implement the change. Yeah, you need incentive. And what I mean by incentive is you need a reason why you're making the change. You need the resources to do that. That could be people resources, it could be time resources, it could be money resources. And also you need a plan of action. And if you've got all of those things, then that means that things will change. However, if you're missing any one of those things, then this is what happens. If you're missing vision, it just ends up in confusion because you've got no end destination of where you're looking to end up. You're making the change, but you're not sure what the vision is and why you're making that change. Okay, if you're missing the skills part of it, it just creates anxiety because you know where you want to get to, you know what you want to change, you know a reason for changes, you've got the resources and you've got a plan, but you haven't got the skills to do it. That just creates anxiety because you're frustrated. I can't do it. I know what I want to do, but I can't do it. The next part is if you haven't got the incentive. You might gradually change, but you haven't got the momentum behind it. You're not building up pace. You might change over time, but you're not sure of the reason that you're changing. So you haven't got your full heart in doing it, your full focus on doing it. Then the next thing, if you're missing the resources, just causes frustration. Everything else is in place, but you don't have the time, or you don't have the money, or you don't have the team, the people resources. It just creates frustration. And then the final thing, if you don't have an action plan, it just creates a false start. Yeah, you start off, you've got a vision, you've got your skills, you know where you want to get to, you've got your incentive, you've got your resources, but you haven't got a plan of action of how you're going to get there and what it is that you're actually going to do. Okay, so this is what we're looking to do here. We're looking to create change. So we need all of these things in place. Now, I wanted to, for those people that have been on my webinars before, this may be familiar, but and those people that haven't, it may be new to you. But I wanted to share with you the structure. So when I'm coaching my clients, I use a simple and systemized approach, which benefits businesses with more time, better teams, and most importantly, more money. Okay. Now, an action coach, we call this the 6 steps to massive results. So every business owner dreams of building an amazing business, and to build a better business, you really do need to build a better business plan. So ultimately, you want to build a business that works so that you don't have to. A commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. And that's where our 6 steps to building a better business comes in, which is really the recipe or system to building a great business for you, your family, and your future. Now, why am I explaining this? Okay, because one of the areas here is about destination. So when we look at the 6 steps here, the bottom step there, building the foundations for your business. Okay, mastery. Mastery is about building the foundations. And if we have a look at the mastery in a bit more detail, mastery is about creating the commercial enterprise of that definition that I shared with you. So building a business all starts at the base level. Yeah, so we use this term mastery, building the foundations of the business. A lot of businesses don't build this first, and therefore they're building their business on shaky ground. The mastery is broken down into 4 basic steps. And the main aim of mastery is very simple. It's to eliminate the chaos in your business. And these are the 4 steps of mastery. Okay, so if you want to achieve massive results, we've got to firstly look at your destination mastery, where you're going, okay, the organization and how it's going to get there. Your time mastery, how we're doing with productivity. Then we've got to look at delivery mastery, making sure that your customers get what they need, and then turning that all into money mastery. Okay, so today we're looking at just one part of this, one part of the mastery level, which is one part of the 6 steps to getting a successful business. So we're looking at destination mastery. Now, destination mastery is all about clarity. It's about answering these questions. Where am I now? Where do I want to get to in the medium and short term? What's the plan? How will I track progress to know that I'm getting there? Who will we serve and how? Okay, so there's a lot of questions there to be answering. Now I'm going to go through this as we go through this webinar today. Now, the first thing I'm going to share with you here is about it's about a part of your brain. It's called your reticular activating system, or RAS for short. And for those people that haven't come across that, that's the part of your brain that is your internal compass. Okay, and by setting your RAS, or setting your reticular activating on your end destination of where you want to get to, you're telling your subconscious, this is what I want to achieve. And therefore it's constantly looking out for ways that you can achieve that, consciously and subconsciously. So you're setting by establishing the destination where you want to get to, you're telling your RAS, your reticular activating system, that's where I want to go. You're setting your compass in that direction. Okay, without a destination, your brain doesn't know where you want to go. It doesn't know where you want to end up. So it doesn't know what it's looking out for. Okay, so what we want to do is set our reticular activating system to where we want to get to. And to do that, we use the planning pyramid. Okay, the planning pyramid is a structure I use with my clients, not only to identify their preferred destination, but also to help them to achieve it. So you can see the planning pyramid up there on the screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through each one of these layers. So let's start off with the first layer with core values. Okay, so what are your values? Your values are those things that are important to you. Yeah, your business values are those things that are important to your business. Now you can see on either side of this, actually, let me go back a slide a second. So you can see on either side of this pyramid, on the right-hand side down, we've got sort of questions like should, why, where, what, how, when, who. I'm going to explain how they link into each area. And on the left-hand side, we've got a time frame. So when we're looking at the core purpose, this is your should question. Okay, this is because what you're asking yourself is, what should your business look like so that it's in line with your core values? If you don't have a business that's in line with your core values, it's going to cause you anxiety. And in fact, it's very difficult to have. If one of my core values is to, is to treat people fairly, and I set up a business that actually isn't treating people fairly, in fact, it's ripping people off, it's unlikely that I'm going to be able to, do that, because it doesn't meet my core values of treating people fairly. So this is how your business should run, your core values. And as you can see on the left-hand side, there is a time frame. Your core values should be in your business forever. They don't change. Yeah, they don't change with your goals or where you want to get to. Your core values don't change. So there's different types of values here. So I want to be specific. What we're talking about here is core values. Core values are deeply ingrained principles that guide all of a company's actions. Yeah, they serve as its cultural cornerstones. Okay, core values, they should be inherent and sacrosanct. They can never be compromised, either for convenience or short-term economic gain. And core values often reflect the values of the company's owner or founder. Now, core values shouldn't be confused with aspirational values. Aspirational values are those that a company needs to succeed in the future, but currently doesn't have. So a company may need to develop a new value to support a new strategy, for example, or to meet the requirements of a changing market or industry. But that's an aspirational value, it's not a core value. Aspirational values need to be carefully managed to ensure that they don't dilute the core values. So one company I worked with valued extremely hard work and dedication. Its employees were known to work late into the evenings and on weekends. And at some point, the executive team felt compelled to add work-life balance as an aspirational value. But they ultimately decided against it because doing so would confuse employees about what mattered most to the company. Okay, so they had a core value, and then they looked to see if the aspirational value would fit with that. Now, the next type of value is your permission to play values. Okay, and these simply reflect the minimum behavioral and social standards required of any employee. Okay, they tend not to vary much across companies, particularly those working in the same sort of region or industry, which means that by definition, they never really help distinguish a company from its competitors. So permission to play values are your business culture. Okay, and then the next one here are accidental values. And then accidental values are spontaneously without being cultivated by leadership, and they take hold over time. They usually reflect the common interests or personalities of the organization's employees. So accidental values can be good for a company, such as when they create an atmosphere of inclusivity, but also they can be negative forces. Yeah, they can be foreclosing new opportunities. So managers always need to distinguish between core values from merely accidental ones. Okay, because confusion can be absolutely disastrous. So how do you set up your core values? So I've got a couple of tips here, how you establish your core values. So one of them is to brainstorm with team members. Gather a trusted team of employees and brainstorm a list of company values. Okay, if you're the boss or co-founder, make sure you demonstrate self-control by remaining open-minded and encouraging the rest of your team to speak with candor. Treat everyone in the room as one team and narrow down your core values. List, to get it to a consensus, such as dependability or resourcefulness. Yeah. Then set the list of values aside and revisit them in a few weeks or a month. Yeah. And if the team still agrees with those value statements, you're in good shape. So the next way of how you can do it is to let your mission naturally define your values. So sometimes your core values can emerge as a natural extension of your company's overall mission. So for instance, the founders of Patagonia, the clothing brand, they aim to create clothing with a minimal environmental impact. And their core values of eco-friendly sustainability came to reflect that mission statement. So examine and take ownership of your mission statement and see what core values naturally arise. The next thing to think about is to ask yourself the important questions. Asking yourself fundamental questions about your company can help clarify your core values. One of these questions might be, what behaviors or actions would the company value over profit? Maybe your values are hard work, open-mindedness, and an entrepreneurial spirit. Maybe you emphasize a desire to drive change by shaking up the status quo. Or maybe your problems are a healthy work-life balance. Maybe your priorities are healthy work-life balance. And maybe standards of well-being for employees. Determine the specific answer to this question. Okay, so think about what those core values are. Ask yourself those important questions. And look, the next one is about being specific. Look, in a perfect world, a company's core values are clearly defined to the point where all decisions are made and done through the lens of those values. Okay, so core values should act as the framework. And then the final one to work out what your core values are is look at your customers. Okay, so often the key to developing core values is to ensure a better future for your company. Okay, it's about getting feedback from your customers. Most customers value like qualities beyond good work and superior products. Yeah, they're looking for a wow factor to separate your company from all the others. Perhaps they want consistent improvement in the area of customer service, a people-first approach, or overall reliability and friendliness. Look to your customers' reviews and feedback and try to incorporate their advice into your company's core values. Okay? So now let's have a look at the next level up, okay, which is about purpose. So we've looked at core values. Now we're looking at purpose. So purpose is your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And your purpose generally tends to be there for the life of the leader. Okay? Whoever's leading the company, That tends to change every time. If that changes, the purpose might change. Now, let me share with you a diagram of what that means. So this diagram is taken from a Japanese word called Ikigai. Okay, and Ikigai is the red dot in the center here. It's about your purpose. Yeah, it's your reason for being. Yeah, so what we want to do is we want to blend all of these four things: something you love, something the world needs, something you're paid for, and something you're great at. And if you can identify what those four things are, the bit in the middle where they all overlap is your purpose. Okay? So ask yourself these questions to help you identify what your purpose is. Why did you go into business in the first place? Why did you choose the industry that you're in? Why do you want to succeed? What drives you to succeed and get results? Why do you want to make a difference? Why do you want to be a business owner and not an employee? What made you set up your own business? And what is the ultimate mission or contribution you're making to yourself and to others? So ask yourself those questions to help you to identify what your purpose is. Look, some other things to think about here. Okay, your core values and your purpose determine who you are. So how do you apply all of this to your business? Once you've determined who you are, you need to be clear on what business you're in. Now, how often do you get the question, what do you do? You know, you're at maybe at a networking event, or you may be at a social event, and you meet somebody you don't know, and they say, what do you do? Irrespective of the situation, think about what you answer. Now, all too often, we respond with the what, not the why. We're answering in autopilot. It's how we're programmed. Okay, so this tiny difference in response reveals an enormous opportunity for both marketing and sales. And the answer lies in having a simple but compelling value proposition. Now, think about this. If somebody said to me, what do I do? Do you think I would be better to answer, I'm a business coach? Or would I be better to answer, I help business owners achieve their business goals and fulfill their personal dreams? Which one do you think sounds better? Or if you're a hairdresser, let's say, if somebody says, what do? Do you think, well, I cut hair? Or do you say something like, I make people feel good about themselves and give them confidence? Which one sounds better to you? Well, let me give you an example, another example. If you're a bookkeeper, okay, do you just say, I'm a bookkeeper? Or do you free up business owners' time to enable them to grow their business? Okay, one way of answering is the what, the other is the why. So a big mistake I see in marketing is when business owners don't have clarity on who their customers are. They spend time and money targeting the wrong suspects. Okay, and then finally, think about what makes you different. And I'm not talking about being cheaper. Okay, cheaper isn't a differential. Okay, what makes you different? What different values do you add to your customers, to your client base? Okay, let's move up the pyramid now. So we've looked at core values and we've looked at purpose. Now, look, to explain the next part of the pyramid, I'm going to refer to the formula for success. So let me share that formula for success with you. Dreams multiplied by goals, multiplied by learning, multiplied by plan, multiplied by activity equals success. So creating change in your life requires these elements and actions. When you consider success, it's not by accident that people achieve great things and use a systemized approach. Brad Sugars, founder and CEO of Action Coach, came up with this formula for success. Success does not happen spontaneously. It requires input and effort. Success requires focus and dedication over time. Think about what success looks like for you. Because as I said earlier, success is different for everyone. So what is your definition of success? Whether you're working on a business, a relationship, or on health goals, you can apply the formula for success. Okay? So let's look at each one of these variables. So let's start with the first thing, which is dream, yeah, or vision. So step one is about writing down your dreams. Regardless of what you're working on, write down your dreams. Create a dream board. Yeah, everybody familiar with what a dream board is? You cut out pictures from magazines or print them out from the internet, and you create a board of what it is that you want out of life. Keep a journal. Whatever the method, make your dreams tangible. Be willing to commit and start making the picture in your head a bigger reality. Keep in mind, dreams are things that you want to achieve within the next 10 to 20 years from now. So you've got time to get that big house, the helicopter, to dive with sharks, or to lose 100 pounds. It all starts with pen and paper. Yeah. So this is about the where. Where is it that you want to go? The vision of the future, your destination. Once you've written down your dreams, you can create your vision, your ultimate destination. As I say, it's your where you want to go. So a vision statement is a document that states the current and future objectives of your business. The vision statement is intended as a guide to help you make decisions that align your business philosophy and declared sets of goals. So you might think of a vision statement as a waste of time. Yeah, and to be honest with you, a lot of business owners do. Let me share a fact with you, actually. Only 3% of people set goals. And isn't it interesting that they're the 3% of people that are successful? Okay, so your vision statement fulfills a vital need for your business. If you don't know where you're going, how do you know how to get there or when you've got there? Okay, and a strong vision statement also works to help differentiate your company from others. Okay, all companies want to become profitable, but a company that can set an agenda to achieve that goal is going to set itself apart and inspire others. So use a vision statement to focus the efforts of your business on the core competencies it needs to achieve its goals. And look, this is a quote by Brad Sugars, because being in business should give you more life. So to determine the vision of your business, you first need to determine your personal vision, as your business should give you the life that you want, not the other way around. Okay, just remember, your business should give you the life that you want. So work out what you want out of life, and then work out how your business can give you that. Okay, and a great way to do this is to create a dream builder list. Everything that you want, and split it into 3 categories. Yeah, what do you want to have? What do you want to do? And what do you want to be? So the have might be physical things, toys, or should I say stuff that you want to have. It could be houses, cars, boats, planes, helicopters, jewelry, furniture. It could be electronic stuff, art, pets, clothes, investments, cash, all things that you might want to have. Okay, the next part is all the things that you want to do, the places that you want to go, the experiences that you want to have in your life. It could be major achievements, it could be awards, it could be donations that you want to make, holidays that you want to go on, sporting or special events that you want to go to. It could be hobbies that you want to pursue. It could be health and fitness, restaurants that you want to go to, shows that you want to go to. Okay, write all of these things down. And then the final thing is B. Think about who it is that you want to be, how you want people to remember you, and most importantly, what's important to you. So things like family, friendships, emotions, values, what roles you play, spirituality. Okay, so write a list of all of those things that you want to have, do, and be. So once you've worked out your personal vision and personally what it is you want to have, you can then look at the vision for your business. Okay, and what you want to do is think about what you want your business to look like when it's finished. Okay, when it's finished, what does your business look like? And look, there's no template to writing a vision statement. However, a common structure for successful ones include these factors that are up on the screen. So the first one, be concise. Okay, a vision statement isn't the place to stuff a document with fluff statements. It should be simple, easy to read, and cut to the essentials so that it can be set to memory and repeated accurately. Be clear. Yeah, a great rule of thumb for clarity is to focus on one primary goal rather than trying to fill the document with a scattering of ideas. So one clear objective is also easier to focus on and achieve. Yeah. Next one, have a time horizon. A time horizon is simply a fixed point in the future when you will achieve and evaluate your vision statement. Define that time. Yeah, make it future orientated. Again, the vision statement is not what your business presently is engaged in, but rather a future objective where you want your business plans to be. Make it stable. The vision statement is a long-term goal that should ideally not be affected by market conditions or technology changes. It should also be challenging. Yeah, you don't want to be timid in setting your vision. Your objective shouldn't be too easy to achieve, but also it shouldn't be unrealistic. Because if it's too unrealistic, it'll just be disregarded. Okay. Okay, make sure it's abstract. It should be general enough to capture your business interests and strategic direction. And finally, inspiring. It's got to be inspiring. Live up to the title of the document and create something that will rally the troops and be desirable as a goal for all of those involved in the business. So let me share with you some what I think are great vision statements. Now, these should be familiar with you, or the businesses should be. IKEA. Our vision is to create a better everyday life for many people. Okay, that's aspirational. It's short and it's to the point. And more than that, it sets the tone for the company and it makes it clear that they're in the market to offer low priced, good furnishings that suit everyone's lifestyle. Okay, then you've got Nike. Nike's bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. If you have a body, you are an athlete. Now look, before Nike came along, nobody cared much for sports shoes. Okay, they weren't really bothered about them. They were just another piece of sports equipment. But Nike changed that. They saw a future that had not yet existed, in which they delivered products that inspired and motivated people. Okay, then look, notice in their vision statement how they include everyone as an athlete. It's clever and it's inclusive. Then we've got McDonald's. McDonald's, to be the best quick service restaurant experience. Being the best means providing outstanding quality, service, cleanliness, and value, so that we make every customer in every restaurant smile. Now look, the power of this vision is that it's constructed like a checklist. Okay, the word best is a word that requires definition, and McDonald's provides it with qualifiers, making the roadmap to success clearly marked with signposts. They're defining what best is to them. And look, the final one on here is action coaches. World abundance through business re-education. World abundance through business re-education. So let's carry on moving up our pyramid and also the formula that I shared with you. So the next thing in the formula, if you remember, was dream multiplied by goals. So now that you've got the big juicy dreams on paper, move to setting goals. Set goals to help you achieve the dream that you've articulated. Goals are things that you want to achieve or change within the next 7 years. But setting long-term goals isn't the only option. You can break your goals down into chunks. So notice on this that you've got on the left-hand side on the time horizon, you've got 7 years, but it breaks it down into there. 7, 5, 3, 1. Okay. So you need goals for all of that period. How do I achieve my vision? Right. I'm going to set a goal for 7 years. Right. If I want to achieve that in 7 years, where do I need to be in 5 years? Where do I need to be in 3 years? What does my business look like in the next 12 months? Okay. It's breaking that big goal down. And your goals are the staging posts on your journey to achieving your dreams. Now, look, I think it's a very relevant point here because I get asked this quite a lot. So let me just explain. I'll explain the difference between a goal, a plan, and an activity. So a goal is a have. It's the result of the what. What is it that you want to have? Okay, so goal is the have. What is it that you want to have? Now, plan is the how. It's the how behind the what. How are you going to achieve the goal? So the goal is what it is you want to have. The plan is how you're going to achieve that goal. And then the activity is the do and the who, or the detail within the plan. So who's going to do what and when? Now, goals do three things. They increase your direction and focus. They get movement happening, which creates momentum, and it shapes the person that you become by setting goals. Now, look, some of you will be familiar with the process of setting goals, but I've added a little bit of extra on here that I like to add. So you may have heard of SMART goals. SMART goals are turning dreams into achievable, actionable things. It's the common denominator of successful individuals and businesses. Okay, so these are SMART goals. SMART goals need to be specific to ensure the objective is not vague. Unclear objectives are a recipe for disaster. So let me give you an example here. If you were setting a goal, something that would be inappropriate would be employees will be empowered. That's not very specific. But something that would be specific is employees will be authorized to make decisions. That's specific. Okay. The next thing needs to be measurable. What does success look like? If you achieve your goal, what does success look like? You've got to be able to measure success. So again, let me give you an example of this. Something that might be inappropriate is the customer will be delighted. How do you measure that? Whereas something that's more appropriate would be, we will receive 12 unsolicited testimonials from our customers expressing positive reaction to our service. That's measurable. Okay, next thing they need to be is achievable. So whilst goals need to be challenging, they need to be achievable, because failure to achieve goals is the most common reason of demotivation and ultimately giving up. So again, there's no point in setting something that would say something like, all customers will purchase another product within 3 days of their initial purchase. Something more appropriate might be 95% of customers will purchase another product from us within 3 months of their initial purchase. That might be more achievable. The next thing is result. What is the result of achieving the goal? Why are you doing it? So again, an example here, something that isn't result driven is, we expect an increase in sales. That's not result driven, but you need to put a value to that. We expect a 20% increase in sales. That's a great result driven goal. And then the final one is time frame. When are you going to achieve it by? So again, something that would be inappropriate would be, reduce the number of accidents by 5. Okay, it's measurable, but when are you going to achieve it by? So you've got to add a time frame to it. Reduce the number of accidents by 5 in the first quarter. Now, I add 2 other things to this. So at the moment, we've got SMART goals. Now we've got SMARTY goals. Okay, and the I and the E stand for inspiring and emotional. That's the goal statements should get you excited and want you to achieve them. Yeah, so something that might be inappropriate might be to hire 5 more salespeople. Did it really get you excited or emotional? Not really. How about to induct 5 brilliant salespeople to our astounding sales machine? Is that a bit more inspiring and emotional? So make sure your goals are not just smart, make sure they're smarty. Okay, the next thing we've got. So we've got dream times goal times learning. Okay, so once you've set goals to reach your audacious dream, you've got to learn new skills or build on your knowledge to develop yourself into the person you need to be to achieve the success that you're seeking. Yeah. The learning phase will take time and it needs focus. Remember the saying, practice makes perfect. Yeah. You may have to add education, read books, take a class, go to a workshop, get a mentor, get a coach, or do all of the above. Learning never stops. The moment you stop learning is the moment that you start dying. There was research done in America, okay? And they asked a number of CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies to ascertain what made them successful. The most common response was never stop learning and getting better. Okay? So we've got dream times goal times learning now, and we've got plan. But look, let me just share this with you first. Be times do equals have. This is a great formula. It's very simple. This is the formula that can help you to achieve and have anything that you want. Yeah, this is what can make your dreams and goals reality. Yeah. So learn this very simple formula. Let me explain it to you. Yeah. Be times do equals have. Who you are multiplied by what gets done determines what you have. Be average multiplied by do average equals have average. Be amazing multiplied by do amazing equals have amazing. So be is about your beingness. You're a human being. Yeah, your behaviors, your beliefs, all the B's. You're not a human doing or a human having, you're a human being. So you've got to work on you. Be yourself. Your learning, your knowledge, your belief structure. You become better, therefore everything else changes. The more you build you, the better life gets. Okay, Jim Rohn once said, never wish life were easier, wish that you were better. So if you work harder on you than you do on your job, then you're using the formula to perfection. Okay, so be times do. Once you become better, what you do changes as well. See, some people are so focused on being that they might sit on top of a hill and meditate their way to success. It's not going to happen. And some people focus on the do and work harder, work more, work harder, work more. But they don't do any self-development. So if you take the self-development, the be, and multiply it by the do, where you're gaining more skills, more knowledge, and getting better at the job that you're doing, and you get more people doing it, be times do equals have. Now, you can look at this backwards. Yeah, if you know what you want to have, you've decided on your dreams, your vision, you know what you want to have. You can then work it backwards to see what it is that you need to do in order to have those things. What should I be doing to make that goal or dream reality? And once I know what I need to do, okay, I can then see who I need to become in order that those things happen. Yeah, so it's pretty easy. The formula is pretty simple. Be who you are, multiply do, the work that gets done, equals have, the goals or dreams. Or if you want to work it backwards the other way, if you want to have average, all you have to do is to do average and be average. Okay, but if you want to be amazing, or if you want to have amazing, then you've got to do amazing and be amazing. Okay, so use this formula to create the life that you want. Okay, now look, I'm conscious of time, I'm going to cover the next 3 levels all together. Okay, so we've got plan, schedule, activity. Yeah, so plan is about crafting a working plan. Now we look at the time schedule that we've got here. So we've set our goals, 7, 5, 3, 1 years. We're now planning the next 90 days. Yeah, plans need to have action steps and activities outlined from a broad timeline. But the most effective plans include daily activities to get you closer to achieving your goal. Daily action plans keep you focused and allow you to drill down deep into the activities that you need to do to get you closer to your dream. And that's why the 3 of these are linked together. Because when you set a plan, your plan has got to have a schedule of what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. And it's got to have detailed activities of who's going to do it or who's going to do what. So many business owners get caught up in the day-to-day of their business. Okay, and they don't find time to plan to reflect on what's working and what isn't. Yeah, and that's why every quarter I run a growth club, which is a 90-day business planning workshop. And this is where I assist my clients in building a step-by-step, practical, relevant, tailor-made action business growth strategy covering the next 90 days. And I teach them how to write a 90-day business plan that will drive success to their business. So by the end of Growth Club, they have a clear picture of where their business will be in 90 days' time and how that's going to take them towards their 12-month goal and their 3-year goal and their 5 and 7 and ultimately to their dreams. and it gives them a step-by-step plan on how to get there. Okay, but included within your plan has to be a schedule. And this is about scheduling specific time in your week to focus on the activities in your plan. So as you can see there, it's got next to the schedule, it's got week or weekly. And this is when you're going to do certain things, because you've got to schedule when you're going to do them. The best way to do this is to have a default diary. A default diary is the single most powerful self-management tool. And it's simple. Okay, in its simple form, all it is a calendar of your week with blocks of time pre-assigned to particular activities you need to do. So the default diary ensures time is blocked out for the important but not urgent tasks. They're the things that usually hover near the top of your to-do list for days or even weeks on end. Okay, and then we're getting right to the top of the pyramid here, activity. So now you're at the point where you must act. Get started, work your plan. Okay, action might lead to a failure, which means you need to go back to your learning and planning stages and rethink your strategy. Don't consider a setback as a roadblock or at the end. It's a directional beacon leading you into a direction for success. But you must do something to get a result. Fear is a dream killer. Okay, it can paralyze you and it can make you rethink everything that you've already accomplished. So overcoming fear in the action steps is paramount to your ultimate success. Okay, so here, surrounding yourself with supporters is very important. And they're your cheerleaders, and they keep your confidence high. Okay, so what holds you back? What reduces confidence? Who do you need to get in your corner to help you move forward? Have a think about that. Now, we mustn't forget the thing at the very top of the pyramid, accountability. Accountability is taking responsibility for your actions. So do you sometimes find that you don't do the things that you know will drive your business forward? Especially when times are good. Okay, it can be stressful, almost paralyzing when you know you need to do something because times are tough. So it can be affected both ways. When times are good, you may not do the things you need to do. And when times are tough, it can be difficult to do the things you need to do. Put simply, everyone needs somebody to hold them to account, to ensure they do the things they know deep down they need to do. So look, here's my top 4 tips to help. Make the end goal personally motivating. Okay, so you feel a real desire and motivation to achieve the result. Share your goals with others so they know what you have promised you will do. Now, look, let me share a statistic with this. Yeah, so there was one of the American universities or colleges, Harvard or something. They did research. They found out that if you make a promise to yourself that you're going to do something, there's a 3% chance that you'll do it. If you make a promise to a partner or a friend, yeah, there's an 11% chance that you will do what you say you're going to do. If you make a promise to a third party, such as a business coach, you're 97% more likely to do what you say you're going to do. Okay, so share your goals with others, but bear in mind that by sharing them with your friends or yourself, that's not going to give you the best ability to achieve. Okay, the third tip that I've got here is make the goals more significant than just you so that failure is not an option. Okay, they impact others if you don't succeed. And the final one is get someone to hold you to account. Okay, conscious of time. So look, any quick questions that anybody wants to type in the chat box or question box, type them in. There's a couple that have come up whilst I've been talking. Tim asked what BHAG or BHAG stands for. I had it on a previous slide. Okay, that's something. BHAG stands for big, hairy, audacious goal. Okay, it's so clear and compelling target for your organization to strive for. It's something that Jim Collins came up in a book, Built to Last. He came up with that big, hairy, audacious goal. Okay. And the other question that came up here was, Anna said, what's the best way of starting to write a vision statement? Okay, look, great question, Anna. So I would start with filling in the blanks. Okay, so fill in this blank. 5 years from now, my business will, and then fill in the blank. By, and then fill in the blank. Okay, so let me just make that a bit clearer. 5 years from now, my business will, and then open brackets, describe what your business will look like in the future by, open brackets, doing what? So what will your business look like in 5 years, and what have you got to do to get you there? Okay. Okay, no other questions come in. So look, just to remind you, upcoming webinars, next one, 24th of November, sales process and objection handling. So if you'd like to find out more about how to make more successful sales and deal with objections, join that webinar on Wednesday, 24th, 1 p.m. Look, the other one, big one to attend, 6 steps to a better business. This is from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, the 1st of December. So register for that one if you'd like. I brought it up earlier, the 6 steps to building a better business. Remember, we only covered today one element of the very bottom one. Okay, so in that one, I give you an overview of the full 6 steps. And look, if you'd like to take me up on a complimentary coaching session, then go onto my website and book yourself into a complimentary coaching session. But finally, if you've got any feedback, please give it to me. If you've enjoyed this session, please post on LinkedIn, Facebook, and say how much you enjoyed it. Okay. If there's topics you'd like me to cover, email me. Tell me what topics you'd like to cover. Okay. And the final thing, remember this statement. The biggest risk you can take is to do nothing. Okay. So you've just spent an hour, just over an hour now, listening to me about how to create a destination and how to get there. The biggest risk to you now is not doing anything about it. Because if you do that, you've just wasted an hour. So after this call, think about what actions you're going to take straight away to start implementing what you've just learned from this session. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate that. Now, look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Bye for now. Take care.